What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about how to stack and store precious metals, silver and gold, if you are a world traveler. This was a subscriber requested video, but really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for daily videos. Also subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Brand new video over there, go check it out. The link will be in the description. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers and we're getting really close. And if you want to help support the channel by getting some DYDSS merchandise, of course we have some precious metal themed t-shirts and hoodies, which are up for grabs, along with a ton of other products, t-shirts, hoodies, even stickers, many of which are raising funds and awareness for different charity organizations. Any and all merchandise can be found by clicking the first link in the description section down below. Thank you in advance, it's more than appreciated. But today I want to talk about storing silver, storing money, preserving your wealth if you are a world traveling nomad or someone who just wants to explore, somebody who just wants to spend their life bouncing around from state to state or different countries and just seeing as much of the planet as humanly possible. Now, this video was inspired by a subscriber's question that they asked me a couple days ago in the comment section, asking me something along the lines of how would I go about stacking silver if I were a nomad, then further explaining in a more descriptive way, talking about how they plan on, I believe, traveling across the country and then visiting other countries and traveling all over the place and not owning a home and maybe just renting apartments or staying at hotels, stuff like that. So first and foremost, I really appreciate this question because it actually really made me think. Typically, I answer questions by explaining what it is that I do or what it is that I would do if I were in that situation. And this is something that I haven't exactly thought about before. So sitting here in front of me, I have quite a bit of silver, and I also have a little bit of gold over here, which I'll get into for a very specific reason. Now, the question was referencing a very, very unconventional lifestyle, a very non-traditional activity to say the least, and this is YouTube. And typically a lot of people on YouTube do not like different, so I can already see the comments coming in.
How dare she make her own decisions? She needs to live her life the exact same way I'm living my life. This is 100% my business and interferes with the way I'm living.
Now that we got that taken care of, I want to talk about what I would do if I were a traveler, if I were not necessarily just relocating. That's a different story. I'm talking about someone who is probably going to be spending a whole lot of time in their car, somebody who is traveling. I do not know if the person that asked me this question is involved in the van life. Some people rig up their van so they can essentially live inside of it. I don't know if that's what their plan is or if they just plan on camping. Not exactly sure. But when it comes to stacking silver, the way that I stack silver, it's very, very simple. And a lot of people stack silver the way that I stack silver. What we do is we take our dollars and convert it into silver. However much silver we are able to get our hands on, we take that silver, whether we do it online or offline, we take that silver, we stick it in a safe, preferably a big, heavy, bulky safe that's bolted down to the ground. We shut the door, we lock it up, we walk away, and then we do it again. But somebody who's traveling the world is not going to be able to do that. One could argue that you could keep a safe in your car. One could argue that you could lock up all that silver in the trunk of your car inside of a safe. But in my opinion and from my perspective, that doesn't really seem smart. It also doesn't seem very practical. It doesn't really seem like it would make a whole lot of sense. And I know that the question was primarily focused on silver. How would I go about stacking silver if I were to do it this way? And what makes the most sense to me, in my opinion and from my perspective, like I said, people don't like different. People don't like it when you don't support or encourage silver 1000%. But I'm going to say something a little bit different. What would make more sense to me if I was doing what you are doing, I truly, honestly, genuinely believe that silver might not actually make the most sense. For me personally, if I were to do that, I think gold would be a way smarter move. Now, a lot of people are going to...
Like, oh, the gold to silver ratio, silver's better, silver's gonna go to the moon.
No, I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about practical, I'm talking about logical, I'm talking about just being objective here. And what would make more sense? Taking, let's just say, I don't know, $2,000 and packing it into one specific piece of metal. When it comes to silver, you're going to have a pile of silver. When it comes to gold, you're going to have just one piece of gold about this size, actually a little bit smaller. Spot price of gold is in the $1,700 to $18 range, so I just said $2,000, just pack it into one gold coin, one gold bar. If you're doing it for the long term and you are constantly on the go, you're essentially planning on spending the rest of your life on the go, I think it would make more sense to pack as much money as possible into the smallest amount of precious metals as possible. And I think that gold would probably make more sense, because the alternative would be having tons and tons of silver. Now, do I think it's a good idea to have silver as well? Yes, absolutely. You might actually want to take just 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4 tubes of Silver Eagle, because let's face it, just a couple of these and nothing more takes up very little room. It doesn't weigh a whole lot. You can keep them in your backpack, you can keep them in the trunk of your car, you can keep it wherever you want. It doesn't take up a lot of room. You can hide it very easily. It doesn't weigh very much. You can move it around, and you can part ways with it very, very easily if you ever needed to do so, because you could just pop off the top and liquidate 1 or 2 or 5 or 30 ounces at a time if that's what you wanted to do. If and when it comes time to liquidate, if you want to, or if you absolutely need to, and you're packing a ton of dollars into gold just to save as much space as you possibly can, because you said it yourself, you don't want to have a house, you don't want to, you know, if you're going to give up having a house or opt out of getting a house, there's really no way around it. You're going to have far less room. You're going to have far less space. You can't own as many things. And when it comes to precious metals, it goes hand in hand. So what would make the most sense to me would be packing a ton of dollars into gold instead. But you might not want to part ways with something that's worth over $1,000, close to $2,000 at a time, especially if you only need $20, $40, maybe $100. And that's why I brought up having maybe just a few tubes of Silver Eagles. Now, I know for an absolute fact that the overwhelming majority of people who watch my videos stack silver primarily, and they prioritize silver over gold, myself included. So I'm speaking from the perspective of someone who might be considering traveling the world and spending months and months and months or years or potentially the rest of their life traveling around and never staying in one spot and doing things differently than most other people are doing. So I'm trying to put myself in that person's shoes, and by doing so, I would imagine that gold would probably make a lot more sense. Now, it really comes down to why you're stacking and how you want to stack. I mean, silver, in my opinion, makes more sense to stack for someone living the lifestyle that I'm living. Gold makes a whole lot more sense than silver does for other reasons. They both have their pros and their cons. They're both excellent in many, many different ways. They're different metals for different reasons. And for someone who wants to travel, for someone who wants to bounce around from state to state or country to country, I would imagine they would be driving around quite a bit, and I could not imagine a big safe packed with silver in the trunk of the car being the greatest idea. I don't really think that's all that safe or smart. Number one, could get carjacked. 2, what if your car breaks down, or you gotta put your car in the shop to get worked on, then all of a sudden you lose access to your entire safe. There's a lot of things that you have to worry about. Now, I'm not a believer in pushing and promoting paranoia. I do not believe in living your life in a way that you're sheltering yourself and being too afraid to make a mistake. I would rather live my life and do the things that I want to do with there being a little bit of a risk than for me to avoid absolutely everything because
There's one little teeny tiny thing might possibly go wrong.
I would rather do what I want to do. And for you asking the question that inspired today's video, I would go ahead and assume that that's probably the way that you live your life. I mean, you plan on or are currently a world traveler. You clearly would rather do what you want to do. I'm just trying to think about it from a logical, objective standpoint. And for me personally, I think gold makes a little bit more sense. And it doesn't have to be fractional gold. It doesn't have to be a bunch of these 1/10 ounce gold coins. It could be larger denominations of gold. It could be ½ ounce. It could be 1 ounce, 2 ounce, 5 ounce if that's what you want to do. If you're just preserving your wealth and saving your money and you don't really plan on liquidating, I think that's probably a better idea. But in the event of absolutely needing to liquidate, that's why I said you might want to consider a couple tubes of silver coins, maybe some basic generic secondary market silver rounds instead. It doesn't have to be the eagle. It doesn't have to be silver rounds. It could be the maple leaf as well. It could be whatever you want. But these tubes of coins are just very simple, easy ways of storing individual ounces of silver. So in my opinion and from my perspective, not a financial advisor, nothing on the channel is financial advice. It's all for entertainment purposes. But I'm also curious, what are your thoughts? Everybody watching this right now, I am not just answering one person's question. I am talking to absolutely everybody, and there's a good chance this video is going to have hundreds and hundreds, potentially thousands of views. So I'm talking to a lot of people right now. I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Head on down to the comments and let me know. But moving forward, I want to talk about one more thing. One thing that you might actually run into some serious trouble. And that would be airplanes. I'm assuming if you're traveling the world, if you're going to go to Italy and Finland and wherever else you want to go, I would go ahead and assume that you're probably going to get there by plane. How else are you going to do that? So you got to take into consideration that when going on airplanes, you're only allowed to travel with a certain amount of dollar bills worth of bullion at a time. I want to say it's $5,000 worth. I could be wrong. I don't remember entirely. Reason for that is because this is not exactly something that I have to worry about myself. I do not travel with thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars packed into precious metals. So this isn't really something that I have to worry about all that much, but I'm pretty sure it's to somehow prevent money laundering or something like that. I don't remember the exact reason, and I don't remember the exact dollar amount, but that's one thing you want to take into consideration as well, because if you have every dollar to your name packed into gold bars and you plan on getting on an airplane, you might run into a little bit of trouble there. So I don't know if you have friends and family that you plan on leaving some of your belongings with. I don't know if you have friends and family that you can drop things off. I don't really know exactly how you plan on doing things, but just by me using my imagination, which by the way, I appreciate the question that was asked that inspired today's video, because it forced me to use my imagination. What would I do if I were to do it this way? What were I going to do if this were to happen, or if I were to go here, go there? So hopefully this video was able to give a little bit of insight. Hopefully it was able to shed a little bit of light on a situation that somebody might be thinking about, or maybe it's something that nobody's ever thought about before, and maybe this got you thinking. So once again, head on down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. Anything and everything related to traveling when it comes to precious metals. And even though this isn't really something that I plan on doing, I used to want to travel a lot. I used to have a couple different places that I wanted to go to, but at this point in time, I have little to no desire to travel. Don't know why that is. I just don't really want to go anywhere crazy anymore. I don't really plan on taking any vacations or anything like that. So it's just not for me. Traveling's not for everyone, but it is for certain people, and it's pretty cool that everyone has a different lifestyle. Everybody has different things going on, different interests and different desires and whatnot. So just something to think about. I can definitely respect it, even though it's not something I'm personally involved in or really ever plan on being involved in. Most other people watching this right now probably are not involved in or have no desire to be involved in traveling the world, especially traveling the world with precious metals. But anybody with common sense will be able to respect it. I would hate to be the person that becomes infuriated by the thought of you traveling. Imagine being that unhappy. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button. If you guys like me, make sure to subscribe. New videos every single day, 365 days a year. Also subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Brand new video over there. Go check it out. The link will be in the description. Trying really hard to hit 1,000 subscribers, and we're getting really close, so help us out. And if you want to help support the channel in the biggest possible way, please consider getting yourself some DYDSS merchandise. Of course, we have some precious metal themed t-shirts and hoodies, which are up for grabs, along with a ton of other products, t-shirts, hoodies, even stickers, many of which are raising funds and awareness for different charity organizations, and of course the major cheeseball t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and coffee mugs, because evidently carrying a piece of silver in your pocket makes us major cheeseballs. I embrace it, and I hope you do too. Any and all merchandise can be found by clicking the first link in the description section down below. Thank you in advance, it's more than appreciated. And once again, I want everybody to head on down to the comments and let me know. Number one, I know that most people watching right now probably do not travel or have the desire to travel. That's perfectly fine. But if you were to travel, if you were to become a nomad, if you were to bounce around over to this state and that state, and then over to that country and this country over there and over here and over there and over here, all over the place, all over the world, what do you think would make more sense? Silver or gold? And this has nothing to do with the gold to silver ratio. This has nothing to do with anything. What makes more sense from a logical, objective perspective, in your opinion, if you were to travel the world with one of the two precious metals? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.